and welcome back to our series on chords. We've been working on building major and minor chords, and last video we worked on how to build inversions, how to create inversions. In this video, I want to continue with our inversions, and we're going to be talking about how to move from one chord to another easily by using inversions so that we're not jumping around all over the piano. So hang tight, it's going to be fun. Let's do a quick review of our inversions. So we're going to start on C in root position. And remember, when we make inversions, our first inversion takes the root C and moves it to the top. So there's first inversion. Then we're going to do that again with the third, the middle note, to move that to the top. There's second inversion. And if we move the last note, the fifth, to the top, we're back in root position. So root, first inversion, second inversion, root. Let's do one more chord. Let's do A major. So here's your A major chord. Remember, first inversion moves the root to the top. So here's first inversion. Then we're going to move the third to the top for second inversion. And then we move the fifth to the top, back to root position. So we're going to be talking about chord progressions, and a chord progression is just a fancy way of saying moving from one chord to another. So it can be a group of chords, or sometimes it's as simple as two chords. In this case, we're going to be using four chord progressions. So four chord progressions. And we're going to start with one in C. So our first chord, so we're going to do a chord progression of C, F, G, C. Now, as I played that, you noticed I played them all in root position. C, F, G, C. Now that's a lot of moving around. So we're going to try to make this a little easier by using our inversions. So if we use, let's start with C in root position. Now, our next chord is an F. But look, F chord and C chord both have a C in common. So what if we took our C for F and moved it down? So this would be second inversion for your F. So we would go C, F. Look how much easier that is, going from C to F instead of from C to F, both in root position. So C to F, and then our next chord is G. Now G is right here. So we can easily use that as our top note for G. And then remember, our other two notes are a B and a D. So we can use first inversion of G to make it easy to move from F to G and then back to C. So watch this again. C, F, G, C. Okay, let's try another chord progression. I'm going to go A major, E major, B minor, F sharp minor. So let's look at that in root position. So A major, E major, B minor, F sharp minor. Now that one jumps around a lot. So let's see if we can make it a little easier. And we're actually going to start, instead of starting A in root position, watch this. We're going to start in first inversion. Ooh, so check this out. All right, so if we do A in first inversion, look at this. A and E major both have an E in common. So from A major, we can move to E in root position. Next, we have a B minor. So B minor is these three notes. So if we're going from, so look, they both have B in common. So we're going from E major. We can do first inversion for our B minor. And then our last chord is F sharp minor. Now, F sharp is going to be a common note between B minor and F sharp minor. So let's keep this F sharp here, and we're going to do second inversion for our F sharp minor. Okay, so let me show you that again. A major, first inversion. E major, root position. B minor, first inversion. F sharp minor in second inversion. And then we're very close to being back to A in first inversion. We only had to move one note. Look how smooth that is and how quickly you can transition between the different chords. All right, let's do one more chord progression. So our chord progression is going to be G, E minor, D major, back to G major. All right, so G, E minor, D, G. If I don't say major or minor, it's assumed that it is major. Okay, just a shortcut. All right, so let's start this one with G in second inversion. Okay, so here's root, first inversion, second inversion. This is still a G chord, even though it's out of order, because here's our G, and if we move that D to the top, there's our root position. So starting with G, second inversion G. Now we can go right to E minor because G and B are common from G major to E minor. So we just move up one note to E minor in root position. And this makes a very easy transition to D major in root position. And then we can go back to G major in second inversion. So let's watch that again. So G, second inversion, E minor, root position, D major, root position, back to G, second inversion. Okay, now what if we wanted to move the G to first inversion instead of second inversion? Let's see what that would look like. So G major, this is first inversion. Now remember that the B and the G are common between the G major and the E minor. So we only have to move one note here, which brings E minor to second inversion. And then we can easily move each finger down one note to D major, second inversion, back to G major, first inversion. So watch this. G, E minor, D, G. Isn't that so cool? It is so cool to be able to do that and to move smoothly through those chord progressions. So let me play you a little bit of what you could sound like once you get the hang of this a little bit more. So I'm going to do the G major chord progression that we just finished. So starting, I'm going to do it in root position. I'm going to do it in starting the G in first inversion. I'm going to add just a bass note in the left hand. Time, and this time I'm going to move to second inversion. All right, so that gives you some stuff to play with and try out. Wasn't that fun? I just love working on chords and figuring out how to move smoothly from one chord to another so that we're not jumping all over the piano with our chords in root position. So continue to practice each of the chord progressions that I put in the video, as well as making up some of your own. Try any chord progression you want to, make it up and see if you can move smoothly from a root position chord to a first or second inversion of whatever chord you want next. See what's going to work the best as you transition. As always, I love hearing from my audience, so please leave me a comment or a question and make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video.